Yo, what's good? It's your boy Premonitions PR3, number 3, where the letter E supposed to be, and we back with another video on the Third Eye Talks Hoops channel. As always, much appreciation, much love to everybody who's been supporting, liking, commenting, sharing. Or you gotta interact. Like I tell you guys, the content's gonna be consistent. It's gonna be fire. And we back today to talk about my 5 top perimeter defenders heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. Look, last year the big men got all the love. The 3 Defensive Player of the Year finalists, Rudy Gobert, Victor Wembanyama, Bam Adebayo. But in today's league, look, it's guard dominated. We see a lot of guys shooting from 35, orchestrating that pick and roll. So you got to have strong perimeter defenders to jump in. So just a quick note about the criteria that we're using. So you're going to hear me talk about defensive rating. I'll post the definition up here. Essentially, defensive rating takes into account steals. It takes into account blocks, but also the things like forced misses, turnovers, and things like that you can't necessarily capture in stats. That's what we're looking at. And for the context of what I'm going to be basing it on, we're going to be basing it off of last year's production. And you had to play last year at least 50 games and average at least 25 minutes per game in order to qualify for this list. Why? Look, anybody can play some great defense if you're only out there for a short period of time. I want to make sure I'm showing love to those perimeter defenders who are consistently tested and consistently show up. So, for some context, even based on this criteria, the Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, would have been number 1 in defensive rating. So let's jump in, kicking it off. Number 5, my number 5 perimeter defender heading into next year, Ant-Man Anthony Edwards. Now stop. I know some of you guys are probably thinking about guys like Marcus Smart who wouldn't have qualified for this list, maybe a Herbert Jones or Trey Murphy, all great defenders. Marcus Smart has to be recognized for what he's doing on the defensive end. Anthony Edwards needs to be recognized for what he's doing on the defensive end. So last year, based on my criteria, Anthony Edwards would have finished number 6 in defensive rating with a 108.5. Once again, for context, Rudy Gobert would have been number 1 with a 106.6 based on my criteria, but we are not talking about big men, it's only perimeter defenders. So Anthony Edwards, 6'4", 6'9" wingspan. Last year, he was right around 1.3 steals per game and about a half a block. Look, with that athleticism, when Anthony Edwards decides he really wants to lock in, he can be a very disruptive defender. Not to mention the fact we've seen him make the highlight defensive plays, the game-winning chase down block he had against the Pacers. And what I really love about Anthony Edwards, and we saw it in the playoffs last year, for a player who has to shoulder so much of the offensive load that he does, the fact that he's willing to lock in and take on these tough defensive assignments. He wants the Luka Doncic's. He wants the Kevin Durant's. He wants the Kyrie Irving. And based off that defensive rating, his athleticism, and his ability to make those clutch defensive plays, look, I know he's a superstar. I know sometimes people want to get really fancy and deep dive, but even based on the stats, based on the eye test, based on the mentality, Anthony Edwards is one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. And I don't think there's really much doubt you can put into that. So kicking off the list at number 5, we got Anthony Edwards. My number 4 perimeter defender coming into next season is going to be forward out of Orlando, Franz Wagner. So Franz Wagner, last year he averaged right around 1.1 steals, 0.4 blocks. He's 6'10" with a 6'11" wingspan. Let me repeat that, 6'10" with a 6'11" wingspan. So right off the bat, when you're talking about perimeter defenders, you want to talk about versatility, those guys who can guard multiple positions. Franz Wagner can do that, being near 7 foot tall and him being a versatile defender. Combined with the fact that he's very, very high IQ, he's able to fit into the Orlando team schemes. He is one of the reasons why Orlando is arguably the best defensive team in the league. Look, Franz Wagner is not somebody we talk about a lot as far as being a great individual defender. We know in the offensive end he can make some plays. We want to see that three-point shot increase, but we're talking about pure defense. 7 feet with a near 7 foot wingspan, can guard multiple positions, and he flies under the radar a lot. But Franz Wagner will be one of the top perimeter defenders heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. So coming in number 3, as we're analyzing our less glamorous and we're talking about defense, we got to talk about the man. Look, yo, at some point I'm going to tell you, bro, just embrace the ball and just let the hairline go. But all that aside, Derek White is my number 3 perimeter defender heading into next season. So Derek White, 6'4" with a 6'7" wingspan. Last year, he finished with a 109.9 defensive rating. Based off of my criteria, that would put him right around 13th in the league as far as defensive rating. Why is he here? First and foremost, he's arguably the best perimeter defender. I think he is. You could go back and forth between him and Drew Holiday, but he's arguably the best perimeter defender on one of the best defensive teams in the league and the NBA champions. And he often takes on one of the toughest perimeter defensive assignments, or the toughest defensive perimeter assignment. In addition, he's tough. Like, he comes to that San Antonio cloth. He came over to Boston. He's not a finesse defender. He will get up in you. He will press you 94 feet. And since he's come into the league, Derek White has been one of the most unique perimeter defenders because he is an excellent shot blocker. Just last year, he averaged 1 steal and 1 block per game. He's been right around 1 block per game his entire career, and that's pretty exceptional for a guard. Look, like I said, he's not a finesse defender. He will get up in you. He can play on the ball. He will harass you, and he will block shots. And he is one of the spearheads on one of the best defensive teams in the league. Derek White, no doubt, deserves his position as one of the top perimeter defenders heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. And I have him number 3 on my list. Number 3 on the Third Eyes list. See what I did there? Number 2 for our top perimeter defenders heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. He's actually going to a team I think is going to have a big year. He's actually going to the team I think had the best offseason in the NBA, and that is Alex Caruso for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Alex Caruso stands at 6'4" with a 6'6" wingspan. Not overly crazy, but what he does do, 1.7 steals per game in addition to 1 block. And he gets his steals in a variety of ways. He's really good at playing the passing lanes, but he's also really pesky on ball. In addition to that, he's also one of the best guys as far as picking up 94 feet, really making sure he's pressuring that ball handler, making it difficult to set up your offense and really slowing you down. So when you play against Alex Caruso, you're not always going to have a large amount of time on the shot clock to initiate your offense, which is something that's overlooked. In addition, he's also one of the best shot blocking guards that we see, averaging right around 1 block per game. Look, Alex Caruso has the reputation of an excellent defender. He produces the raw stats, and the advanced metrics of him as well. And just good for the eye test. He's tough. He's hard-nosed. He will get up in you. Look, Alex Caruso no doubt deserves his place on this list. He is my number 2 perimeter defender heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. And number 1. Look, I told you, we unbiased on the Third Eye channel. But even the unbiased Third Eye, look, I got to look at my Knicks. My number 1 perimeter defender heading into the league next year, OG Anunoby. Look, OG stands at 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. Let me repeat, 6'7" and a 7'2" wingspan. Look, when he came over to the Knicks, we won at nearly a 70% clip. In addition, OG averages 1.7 steals per game as well as 1 block. And based on my criteria, his 107.2 defensive rating would have put him just number 2 in the league, only behind Rudy Gobert as far as defensive rating and players who played at least 50 games and averaged 25 minutes per game. So he's taking on multiple defensive assignments, he's taking on the value, and he's being challenged, and he consistently delivers. Once again, he's another guy who can harass you for the length of the court. He gets steals not only in the pass lanes, but he's pesky on ball, and he can play multiple positions. What I really like about OG, in addition to being able to guard on the perimeter, being able to stay in front of guards, he's not little. So if you have somebody who can really post up, he's not a mismatch as far as like the bigger guards or forwards who can post up. Like, he's not going to go down there and guard an Embiid, but he can hold his own against guys who can get a little bit strong in the post. But talking about on the perimeter, man, 6'7", 7'2" wingspan. His wingspan is that of a center. On-ball steals, pressuring, contesting shots, blocking shots, and you saw the impact on winning that his defense brought to the New York Knicks when he came over. Look, for the last 3 or 4 years, OG Anunoby, when he's healthy, has had the reputation for being one of the most disruptive perimeter defenders in the league. The eye test shows it, the stat shows it, and the reputation shows it. So the unbiased Third Eye has the New York Knicks OG Anunoby as my number 1 perimeter defender heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. Look, like I said, the big men got a whole lot of love last year, but we got to make sure we're shining that Third Eye light on perimeter defenders because they play a very, very vital role in a successful team defense. And with that being said, that's what we're going to close out today. Look, once again, appreciate every single person tuning in, showing love and support. Look, comment. Do you agree with what the Third Eye sees? Tell me why you think I'm wrong, and I'll show you why I'm right. Till then, God bless.